A lot of reviewers say a lot of different things about Metallica over the years, mostly positive, but also obviously sometimes some negative stuff. It's difficult for me to, I think it's great. Everybody's got an opinion, the critics write great things usually. Obviously it's a very dark record. The first time that I heard the lyrics or read the lyrics, I was amazed that that type of turbulence still exists inside James Hetfield's head. I don't know if it's the darkest record. I think Injustice for All is pretty bleak also, but that's a little bit more external. That's more about the system and about society and so on. And Death Magnetic is maybe a little bit more about the turbulence inside James Hetfield's head. So it is obviously a very dark record. And the main thing for me is that most of the fans really have responded well to the record, and obviously a lot of the critics have responded well to the record. But whether it's the darkest or call it a toss-up between Death Magnetic and Injustice for All, I read some of the ones in English or in Danish. I don't read a lot of reviews in Italian because I only had Latin for 1 year, and even though it was the highest grade I got in Danish school, I'd forgotten all of the Latin thing. So I read some of the reviews, but not a lot of them. Do I care about reviews? I would rather have a good review than a bad review. Does it make a big difference in my life? Not a big difference, but obviously any artist, whether they make music or film or write literature or have a TV show called RockTV, everybody would obviously rather that people appreciate what they're doing. But I think with Metallica over the last 25 years, 28 years or whatever, we've gotten pretty used to some very extreme responses. Some people live and breathe Metallica, and some people hate us with a passion. It's all over the place. So we're sort of used to that. But obviously, I think any artist who tells you that they wouldn't rather have a positive review than a negative review, I think is lying to you. But I think generally the Death Magnetic reception has been very positive. I've done a lot of interviews in the last year. I've never been asked that question. That's a great question. If Death Magnetic was a movie, what would it be? Wow. That's a great question. I'm going to have to come back to that one. There was a movie that Gary Oldman made about 10, 12 years ago called Mill by Mouth. A very dark British film starring Ray Winston. About a really screwed up guy with a bunch of screwed up family situations around him. A great film. That's the first one that comes to mind, but I'm sure I'll think of others and I'll let you know as they come up. Well, right now the only plan in Metallica's world is to try to survive this tour. We got another 14 months. We're going up through August of 2010. It's difficult for me to think about another record, so there are no plans, but the experience with Rick Rubin was a very positive one, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to make another record with Rick. I would like to make another record with Rick at some point. With Rick's badgering of the band, it wasn't too bad. We wrote for about, after we decided to work with Rick, for about a year. Kept bettering the stuff, but we didn't have to keep writing a lot of different stuff. We more had a lot of songs and kept narrowing them down and making fewer and fewer songs and try to continue to better them. I think with Rick, a lot of times it's more about the other way. It's like, I don't know if it's a requirement, but there's certainly plenty of things on a daily basis that irritate me, but they would sound really silly if I told you about them on a TV show. But I can be irritated at anything, I can get set off in seconds, but You know, to me, I think it's more about energy, and energy can be both positive and negative. I don't think that energy necessarily has to only be negative. There can also be a very, very positive energy that comes, especially when you share an experience with 20,000 people, like we do, 4 or 5 times a week. So, and I also think that we share the experience with each other, the 4 guys in Metallica, and I think that we have found a way to maintain the adequate amount of fuel for energy. And to say anger to me is just, it's a little bit of a one-dimensional word in English, because it only comes from something bad. And I think that energy can come from many different places, especially obviously like sharing an experience together, like we will be here in a couple hours. So when you walk up on stage and have 20,000 people ready to share this experience with you, it's not difficult to fire up the engines. Might take a little longer than it did 20 years ago, but once you get there, it's not difficult to maintain.
It's Metallica family here tonight. Here comes some old stuff.
What is it about Metallica that will never die? I don't know. The gift that keeps on giving. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like a cold sore. We never go away. I don't know. We really love what we do. We really enjoy what we do, and I think the fans really appreciate all the different sides of what we do. So I guess part of what never dies is that the experience never gets old, because we always continue to change the experience and give the experience a different flavor,